Hello everybody, welcome to Zolder for another OVRC race. Today, as the title suggests, is a rolling start test race. I'm once again joined by Erwin,
Oh,
and he'll be helping me kind of keep track of what's going on here, because once again we're using GT1s and GT3 cars. So like the last race we did 2 weeks back now, I think, roughly around there. It was a couple of weeks back anyway. And so yeah, we're using the same cars, but as older, and for testing the rolling start procedure, which possibly could make an appearance in Season 4, depending how well it goes. So, Zolder, a track we have been on before. It was all the way back in Season 2, Round 1. Which we raced then, GT Challenge we called it back then, or something like that. It was used all the way back then, and now we're back on it again. Hopefully without as much punting as last time. There's quite a few contacts. We already have a car on the server though. So we're going to be jumping very quickly into the session beginning. We have Thomas Jensen on the server in the Nissan GTR GT1. Now from the sign-ups, there's a couple of GT3 cars in Nissan GT3 cars. I mean, so hopefully they don't get. Hopefully it won't get a bit too confusing with both cars running on the track at the same time. Hoping we get a GT3 car on the server so we can go quick track tour, because unfortunately the GT1s don't have onboard cameras yet. So we can't really do any onboard stuff on them really. Of course, GT1s now a month ago, roughly maybe, a couple of weeks back, had a overhaul to the physics, as well as the introduction of one new car. Oh, have you yet had to go in these cars yet, or are you still haven't had a go in them yet?
yeah, I had a little go in them again before we did the last race, but not really anything. Don't really have a lot of experience with them yet. Sort of on a break from racing myself, so yeah, I haven't really driven them much.
I mean, I had a recent drive them yesterday, in the GTR, just to get a quick feel for track and stuff, and having a go between the GT3s and GT1s, GT1s are definitely a lot harder cars to drive. Obviously they don't have traction control or ABS, so it's all about the drivers' inputs into the cars to make sure they point in the right direction. Once again, remember that the live timing is available if you want to have a look at that. And I will give you a more accurate description of where all the people on the track are, what times they're setting, and their sector times.
Yeah, we are also broadcasting to the new OVRC YouTube channel now instead of Alex Blob's channel. So make sure you subscribe to that if you haven't already.
Yes, it's now on an official channel. There's a bit more work to be done on the channel in terms of presentation, but overall it should be a lot better, especially for when the season kicks off. We hope you have a bunch of new content available on this channel as we slowly get it set up. We now do have a few more cars on track. And maybe if you are interested in joining the race, sign-ups are still available. You can still join. There's a lot of slots still left. So if you feel like you want to get some GT1, GT3 action, or also want to try out a rolling start, then you can feel free to join.
Should get our first time in this practice session in just in a moment, with Thomas Jansen crossing the finish line. 126.4 in the GT1 cars, the Nissan.
We have our second time lap now set up by Denkus. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Who's in the Mercedes? Denks. Don't know why I'm adding extra words and stuff in there, but Denks. There we go. He's driving the Mercedes AMG GT3. A car which is not very used a lot last season, but we've got a couple of them signed up for this race, so it'll be interesting to see as he's setting his first times lap now.
Dank's getting close to the finish line now, so we should get our first time GT3 lap in. This is 5.9 seconds off the GT1 so far. With a 132.3.
Timothy Haynes is in the trusty old Z4 right now, as he's sitting at his first timed lap right now, heading towards turn 8.
This lap so far is looking faster than Dank's lap.
I think this is going to be quite an interesting track for the multiclass, just the multiclass aspect alone, because this track is a lot of corners and not many straights where the GT1s can stretch their legs. So it'll be interesting to see how the GT3s deal with it, as he does. Oh, that's a huge off there by Haynes coming out of turn 1. But on the AstroTurf and did slip into the wall on the other side of the track. AstroTurf is very slippy here.
He just put in a 130.5, which is a lot faster than what Danks has been able to do so far. Of course, all of these cars have only done one timed lap so far.
Denju is out in the Ford GT. Luckily for us, not many people actually drive the Ford GT3, so we won't have too much confusion between the two cars. Unlike the Nissan, which is very popular in the GT3 class. Now this track was actually used in the FIA GT series. This is a few years back now, where GT1, GT2 were still a thing. So it won't be exactly a neat concept to have GT1 cars running around this track in a multi-class configuration. And I believe back then they even had all the chicanes we have now, so obviously we're running GT3s and not GT2s, but they're close enough.
Then they'll put himself in second, 2.1 seconds off Jansen. So those are the only two GT1 drivers currently in the server.
There's a bit closer with the set 4 of Haynes there between the two faster GT1s trying to get through there. And that's compromised both GT1's lap times. Luckily this is practice, so nothing too much will be made out of this, luckily. Now, I said before, there's a rolling start test. So at the beginning of the race, a rolling start procedure will be in place. And it might actually be worth going over that very quickly. So let's have a look at that very quickly while the cars are going around. Right. So the system we're testing today, for which has been put in place by the admins at the AVRC, is so when the lights go out at the beginning of the race, the cars one by one will leave their grid spot and start following the car in front. So they'll basically do an outlap as such, which will be in single file. The leader will be able to control the pace until turn 7, the second chicane. So we will highlight that when we go past it, as we are watching Thomas Jensen go and do a lap. There will be no overtaking at all at this to this point. After turn 7, the leader will have to drive on the pit limiter. So this is not the first chicane. This is the first chicane now. So this next corner will be the second chicane. Then you go down here. In the rolling start, you will put on your pit limiter. Obviously, Thomas will not be doing that. He's trying to set fastest laps right now. You'll put on his pit limiter now until he will head up towards turn 8. The field will be bunched up at this point. At turn 8, the leader will be able to go as fast as they like. But there will be no overtaking allowed at this point, so basically it's everyone will be allowed to go as fast as they can, but can't overtake each other. And then as soon as they go through the last turn, turn 11, the race will be green and they'll be off racing. In the case of the GT3s, they will be staying on the grid for extra 30 seconds compared to the GT1 field to help create a bit of a gap between the two cars. I hope I got everything then.
Nav has now also joined the server in the GT3 Nissan, so that will not be confusing at all.
Well, we gotta hope is that he's not leading his class, and the GTRs in the GT1 class are not bottom of their class right now. Because that when we get confusing on the timing screens, and that's confusing because they're quite close to each other, unlike the later model GT3 Nissans, which have a lot more aero all over them and bigger wings and stuff. This generation one is kind of not got much like aero parts on the surface compared to the later models, so they're quite similar in looks.
Anton Guivalainen has joined in the Gampert.
I believe everyone else apart from Denju is on an out lap right now. So we had a couple people join and leave, so probably setting things up still. Coming out the pit lane now is Atom Kovalainen in the Gumpert Apollo. Oh, Denzi will lose the back end coming out of turn 4. I believe so did Kovalainen. They both had an off moment there. I bet Kovalainen's picked the pink livery for the Gumpert. I guess could not help himself from picking the brightest and most unique livery he could find.
Don't think I've actually seen it in pink before. It looks unique indeed. Wish it was a little bit brighter pink. That would be nice.
You want a bright pink car?
Yes.
So Kovalainen starting his first timed lap. Remember, still there's plenty of time before qualifying starts, so again, if you're interested in joining this race, you still have 41 minutes to sign up. Or less than that by the time it actually gets to your screens, because there is delay added, obviously. So Kovalainen is going to cross the line now in the pink Gumpert. A 1:28.073. Right, here comes the confusing part, because Kevin Naff is now heading out in the GTR GT1. GT3. I already got it wrong. So sorry for the technical issues, guys. Apparently my OBS decided to disconnect for whatever reason. But we are back. Hopefully we didn't miss too much as we're watching Kevin Naff drive around in the GT3 Nissan GTR. So try and work out the difference while you can now between the difference between the GT1 and the GT3 version. Because otherwise you can get very confused later on in the race. Overline trying to improve his current time in the Gumper.
Just had Stephen Higgins joining the server in the Corvette GT3 C7. Though his name is Hank Bizzle today, it seems.
Has a tendency to keep changing his name, doesn't he? Coverline improves his time. He goes second fastest in the GT1 class.
Nando was also looking to improve in Sector 1, but so far did not improve in Sector 2. Let's see if we can make that up into Sector 3. On the main straight now. And he did not improve his time.
It's going to 7 cars on the server. Coverline appears to have got past NAF in the GTR. Because the last time we saw these two, they were the other way around. Coverline, I believe, did just improve his time.
Coverline just shaved over half a second of his time.
So Hank Bizzle's now heading out on the track now. Denks is improves his sector 2 time. Heading across the finish line now. Does improve his time. But don't weigh much. Oh, and Thomas Jones taking this quick spin in the Nissan. Hank Bizzle now starts his first flying lap as well in this session. Immediately loses it coming out of turn 2. Don't know what's going on there, but the car just did not look stable going through that corner.
Kevin Neff is also out on track again now. Danks is looking to improve his time in GT3. He did not improve his Sector 1, but he did improve Sector 2.
I think Bizzle's still yet to set a time, and he's now another outlap after his smart meeting of the barrier at turn 2.
Dendo improves his Sector 1. So let's see if he can get any closer to Krievalainen.
He does have Naf in the way though in the GTU3 class.
And he has Jensen behind him, so I don't think Jensen is not on a fast lap right now, so I'm assuming he'll stay behind.
Neither is Dendo anymore. I believe he may have cut the chicane because he's no longer having a time counting on the overlay, so
Alright.
seems like he is on the lap anymore. As we head to our quick break, we will be right back after this. And in the meantime, you get to watch some cars go around. welcome back everyone to this broadcast. As we unfortunately can see, Dennis might have a bit some connection issues, as he seems to be warping around. So, as we have a look at Hank Bizzle, he's currently got a personal fast to Sector 1, looking to move himself up the order a bit. And now all the way down P5. It's very wide on turn 8.
Right onto the grass for him, so that's not going to be a fast lap. He might still improve though, but I don't think he'll be able to pass Nav. And he didn't improve, okay.
Thomas Jensen's currently leading the session. Kovalainen improved in middle sector. Let's just catch him now crossing the finish line. Does improve his time a bit more. Slowly getting closer to Thomas John Jensen's time.
Hank Bizzle does not run wide this time. So let's see if he can take Nav. He's about to cross the line, and no, he did not improve his time, so something's gone wrong in the last sector. He was improving the sectors before that. Anton Kovalainen is looking to improve, though he's not going much faster than his current posted lap time. Still, every little bit counts. And he did not improve his time.
We're starting to see a few more people showing up. Dendo's back on the server again. He seems to be having connection issues. Bit wide on exit there by Hank Bizzle on the final corner. Does actually improve his time, but still not close enough to the gap in front. That gap right now is 0.954. Only 2 cars out on track. Ian Coverline and Hank Bizzle. Everyone else is in the pits.
And Bizzle improves sector 1.
Oh, and Coverline's heading into the pit lane now.
Okay, so it looks like he's going to get a little bit of pit practice in, maybe, as Kevin Neff is rejoining the circuit. Hank Bizzle comes out the final corner onto the start-finish straight. Does he get past Kevin Neff this time? He doesn't. He improves his time and he gets very close to Neff, but that's as far as he can get so far. I'm sure he'll be giving it another go.
Denzu's now heading out now. That's the pit lane he goes. And Naff is also going to be starting his timed lap very shortly. He's going through the final few corners right now. It's very wide out of turn 1. And how fast this lap will actually be. Once again, only 2 cars are out on track right now. Across the line, probably not going to improve his time though. He doesn't. Dendu is looking to set a new time on the board. Across the line, puts himself P3. So ahead of all the GT3 cars. As he starts a fast lap once again to improve his current time. Nav puts himself at top of the GT3 field. With a 1:30.6. Nav apparently aborted this lap because he just slammed straight into the wall just then.
As Hank Bizzle just starts another timed lap, and he turns a bit wide at the exit of turn 1, but that won't have hurt him too much, I think. So Hank Bizzle will another fast lap. Doesn't actually need to find too much time to be able to move himself up the order. So all the GT3 cars are coming very close to each other right now. So it looks like we have a late entry in Victor Berlin. He's joining GT3 in the Mercedes.
So bolster the field up a bit. Remember, there still is 10 minutes to sign up if you want to join.
Looks like Griffin trying to get closer to Jensen, improving Sector 1 and his Sector 2. Is 7/10 off so far, so we'll be in for personal improvement to Jensen. You never know, of course.
Currently one car out on track. All of the cars right now are in the pits. 2 cars are yet to set times.
The main is joining the track.
And so is Victor Berlin as they both start exiting the pit lane. Danks goes very wide at the turn 1.
Looks like Berlin has the Swedish flag color scheme on this Mercedes, so that'll make him very easy to recognize.
Number 9 is Bilstein Mercedes. I mean, it's actually a black. I believe it's a black flag, not black flag, black Falcon run car, but with Bilstein livery. There's also Swedish colours. Depends what you want to base it off. Anyway, it's quite obviously blue. Interesting enough, there is actually a clash. I was about to say, none of the numbers are clashing. Turns out the Atikovainen and Victor Berlin's numbers do clash. They're both number 9. So you can't just be lazy and call the number 9 car, because it's 2 of them. Number 4 Nissan, number 9 Gumper, number 16 Ford, 21 Nissan, 13 Mercedes, 13 Corvette, 9 Mercedes and 19 BMW. Just random facts for you. There we go. Both Timothy Haynes and Victor Berlin now setting timed laps.
As Danks improves his personal Sector 1.
Haynes is in the wall though.
Currently in 5th.
After having a incident going for the second chicane, goes straight on to the back tyre barrier. Not the place you want to be, as Victor Berlin, I believe, has invalidated his lap. Okay, it's no longer counting as he crossed the sector 2 line. Banks goes into the pits.
Yes, he is. So, not finishing that lap, unfortunately.
Bizzle has improved his sector 1. So you can keep it going to sector 2.
Dendo has also improved his sector 1.
Goes across the line, does not improve his time.
Dendo has also abandoned his lap. He's back in the pits.
Burlington on an outlap, it does seem. And so is Haynes, apparently. As Haynes crossed the line now to start a timed lap with 4 minutes left in the session. Very wide there, Haynes goes, and loses the rear end. And tries to turn it around and does not manage to do so. Berlin starting another timed lap, or halfway through a timed lap now. Goes through the chicanes.
Berlin hasn't set the time yet. He's also quite a late joiner, so I don't know if he's done any practice. So let's see where he ends up.
Two minutes left to go.
As Berlin puts himself P7, so he's about 2 tenths off Bizzle.
Haynes now starts a timed lap after so far failing to complete a lap. both Berlin and Nav are on improvement laps. As Haynes cuts the course and invalidates his. So he won't be able to set a timed lap in the session, I don't think.
Oh, Berlin has a big off on the final corner. The rear just suddenly snapped on him, it seems.
That's a lot of damage in the front end. Naff has entered the pits now, aborted his lap. And that's the end of the session. As we will be moving into the drivers' briefing and begin qualifying.
Right, time for the drivers' briefing. Of course, the most important topic is the rolling start. First, some of the normal stuff, which is track specific to Zolder. I think the main point is going to be the first chicane. It's very difficult to go side by side there. It's advised to not do that. And if you do it, just make sure to give each other room, because you can get very unstable over those bumps. But preferably no dive bumps there, because that will probably end in tears. And another thing on this track is the first sector, basically turn 1 and 2. There are a lot of lines possible, so if you are side by side with someone, just remember that they can be on a very different line, could come do a cutback. They are not always where you think they are. Just keep that in mind. So for the rolling start, I assume you've all read the procedure that we've thought of. I'll go drive out of the pits now and show you where the points are exactly. So if you can spectate me if you want to see. So from the grid, the leader will just drive away, and you'll just drive away in single file, like one by one. Don't floor it right after the light goes off, because that will end in a chaos. There's enough time to catch up after the point where you go on the pit limiter. So on the first part of the track, as we don't have a safety car, the leader will just decide how quick you can go. We just expect the leader to be normal there. Don't drive on the pit limiter, and also don't drive full speed. Just warm your tires if you want, because you will be on the pit limiter for a bit. Your tires will cool. So as we come to the second chicane here, this is where the leader goes on the pit limiter. So this will allow the whole field to catch up. So you'll keep on the pit limiter from here. I will just skip this to save a bit of time. So then here in the hairpin, this is the point where the leader can decide what the pace is. There's no overtaking allowed yet, so the leader can just slow down the field, or it can go immediately, like here. And then as we go here, there's no overtaking yet. And then after the last corners onto the main straight, from here it's green flag, so you can overtake. So you can set up your overtake in the last corner, you just not go side by side in the last corner yet. And that's how the race is going to start. Now in the text channel, we said that the GT3 is going to have to wait 30 seconds. But because we have such a small grid, we're going to merge them today just so we can test how the rolling start works with a bit of a bigger grid. Is that all clear?
Yep.
Any questions about the rolling start? Or anything in general?
Am I on time?
Sort of. You just missed the rolling start explanation.
Okay, I'm guessing we're all moving when we start.
That's kind of how rolling start works.
Yeah, it's in the text channel. There's a description. The only difference is that we are merging the GT3 and GT1 field for the rolling start. So the GT3s will just follow the GT1s around.
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
I'll
Yeah,
just try
read
not
the
to do
text
anything
description.
crazy.
Yeah, don't, you will only have a problem if you're the leader. Then you'll have to know what to do. Yeah, I think
What track are we on, by the way?
great preparation. Ron Zolder.
Ooh, what the fuck? Zolder in GT1 cars? I'm gonna die.
That's why I went GT3.
Yeah, and when the rest is then free to start qualifying.
How long is it?
Alright. So after that bit of interesting discussion, there's 20 minutes left of qualifying to go as the first cars start rolling out. As you heard Charlie Darling join a bit late.
That's another surprise entry. It's not actually entered on the website.
You can always ask him to do that before the end of the race. Anyway, so that brings our field up to 9 cars. So which will be quite nice to see. Obviously, you saw a rough idea how the procedure will work. As all 9 cars are now on the server. On board right now with Dendo in the Ford GT, as he has currently got track space. He's currently leading. Will be the first to set a time. I believe we might have a Woolby as well. Unfortunately, he did miss the driver's briefing and the explanation, but he has entered the voice chat. So bring our field up to 10 cars. As Dendu starts his lap. Heads over the crest, down into the second chicane. Across the line now, it's going to set our first timed lap. 128.171. As Haynes sets the first GT3 time of the session. He
gets beaten by Kevin Neff.
almost immediately.
Danks puts himself in P2 and Charlie Darling takes P1 in GT1.
So without any practice at all, he's already set the fastest time in qualifying.
Well, Jansen hasn't set a lap yet. It just was on a timed lap, but that couldn't invalidate it.
Kovaline's on a lap now as well as he enters into the second chicane now.
As Jorgen Welby is in the server in another GT3 Mercedes.
His trusty Mercedes. he ran that for last season, and I believe all the races he did during the seasons before, he also ran the same car. So, lucky number 29, I guess. As Kovalainen heads across the final few corners, puts himself P1.
Darling was also in a fast lap, but he ran wide. So that's no longer a fast lap.
Jensen's.
So Jensen is on a fast one though.
Yep, as he's heading towards the final two corners, he's currently up in both Sector 1 and 2. Puts himself provisional pole. Pole 1.1 second above Kovalainen's time. We still have 3 cars yet to set times though. But they're all in the GT3 field. Dendo is heading to the final corner now and improves to Sector 2.
As Jensen goes a tenth faster through Sector 1 once again.
Wilby's now on track now, on his outlap.
Dendo is about to cross the line. Puts himself up into P3. Pushes Darling down to P4.
Jensen invalidates his lap as we hop on board with him now. So he invalidates somewhere and immediately returns to the pits. Victor Berlin now heads out on track.
Hank Whistle is also out on track now. So they can start their first time laps pretty soon, hopefully.
Be a bit careful, I believe some cars coming up behind these as they pull it out of the pit lane, which will be on fast laps. Kovalainen's on a fast Sector 1, trying to close the gap with Thomas Jensen.
And Berlin has Jensen behind him, but he let him through nicely. Jensen not on a timed lap right now. Kovalainen's got a bit of traffic, improving his lap time now, though I don't think it will hurt him. Traffic is quite far ahead on the straight and improves his time.
Loses a bit of time though in Sector 3.
Alright, so maybe he did lose some time due to traffic.
I don't think he did, I think it was just a bit struggling coming through the final few corners, because I believe the Sector 2 line is after the crest after the second chicane, so it's the hairpin, and the hairpin's very tricky to get right.
As Charlie Darling moves himself up into P3, so yeah, he only joined very late, so he's not done any practice. Didn't even know what track we were running.
He has been here before though, back in Season 2, but he was racing in the Porsche, so very different piece of machinery. Naf's trying to move himself out to the bottom of GT3. And does so, moves himself up to P6 and P2 in class. Haynes improves Sector 1, does not improve Sector 2. Can he keep us going to Sector 3? As he crosses the line, he will put himself, say himself P7. Does improve his time though. Byrne about to set his first timed lap, gets very sideways coming out to the final corner. That will not be helping his times at all. And he puts himself dead last.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of time, I think, because of that final corner. It's definitely a tricky one.
It's very
Difficult to
easy.
judge when to get on the throttle.
It's very easy to spin the car around, as I was finding out when I was doing some laps before. It's not even with traction control. Traction control does not seem to save you there. It's just not much. There's not much grip out there at all. Dendo struggles a lot coming out of the hairpin and does lose the back end there. As Denks pulls over as well, so there's a few people pulling over. Every time we keep changing camera, it seems that people returning to the pit lane. So it seems that people are struggling out there with 10 minutes left to go.
Alright, and Hank Bizzle still hasn't set a timed lap.
It's a very tricky track, this indeed. And I remember from season 2, I was driving at the time in the Z4, and everyone around me was struggling. Luckily, I just was not having such bad time there, so I made quite a few positions up just by staying out of trouble. But it's very much a track about just keeping lap after lap and keep going. It's a very technical circuit.
Bizzle is back out on track.
He's now, yep, he's now going to head on and out that. See where he can place himself. The background is Kovalainen pushing very hard, going a bit on the gravel there. The gravel does slow you down quite a bit though, so it's not the suggested line to take. Thomas Jensen starts another times lap. Haynes improves sector 1.
Mr. Bizzle just let Kovalainen by, so he can get some room to start his timed lap. And hopefully he'll actually be able to finish it this time, because he still hasn't set a time. And it's just under 8 minutes left in the session now.
One thing that I find quite interesting right now is looking at his times is the fastest GT3 is 4.2 seconds off Thomas Jensen's pace. And he's 2 seconds off the fastest the slowest GT1. Now in the context of possibly season 4 running these cars, it might be a case where on certain tracks like this one, a GT3 might outqualify a GT1. We're obviously saying that the GT3 driver is either very quick or the GT1 driver is not having the easiest time out there, but
No, Thomas Jensen just disappeared from the server. Or am I
Few people
having
have.
connection issues?
a few people have, it seems.
Okay. Yeah, indeed, we are down to 7 people on
So-
track now.
So you've lost a few people, which is not a good sign. We'll try and work out what is going on here. Thomas Jensen's back on the server. So who actually got disconnected then? Thomas did. Kofi Haynes disconnected as well. Dendro was still there. And he was having issues earlier. He was a bit loose on the entrance into turn 1. Oh, we lost Hank Bizzle. There we go. That was a
Looks like everyone's joined back in now.
Hank Bizzle just
Although
seems to...
they'll have to rush to get some laps out, because only 5 minutes left now, and of course the times they said before are gone.
Hank Bizzle has changed car though, he's now in the gun put.
Interesting.
Change of car and class. So Thomas Jensen's got to do a lot of work now, as he's got 5 minutes to do an outlap and get a timed lap in. So this could really shuffle up the order a bit. If the cars cannot get a timed lap out.
Neff improves his time, so he gets closer to Danks for the pole in GT3.
So Timothy Haynes, Hank Bizzle and Thomas Jensen have all got to set laps now. With under 4 minutes to go, and Timothy Haynes and Hank Bizzle are only going for the second chicane right now. They've got a lot of work to do. So Thomas Jensen starts his flying lap.
As Hank Bizzle now starts his lap, and just has a last minute car change.
Thomas Jensen on not a very quick lap at all right now. Your whole second down in sector 1. So it might be a case of Atom Kovalainen getting pole position. This will be an upset, let's just say that. As right now, Thomas's lap will put him dead last into GT1.
Victor Berlin just went back onto the track, but I don't think he'll have the time to set a lap. So maybe just getting some more practice in.
Thomas Jensen puts a lap in, and he's going to have this is his last shot to get a higher lap. Timothy Haynes is looking to set a lap. He puts himself P9. And Bizzle about to do the same. He puts himself P4. Thomas Jensen sets a fastest sector 1 though. So he's looking to try and get himself back on pole.
It's going to be tight to whether or not he can finish it. I think he should have just about enough time. He did improve his sector 1.
As Thomas Jensen goes, I believe, cut his lap, so Looks like this will be his best lap he can achieve. Will be P5. Tangbirds also cuts the track as well, so I believe this will be pretty much your order. I don't think anyone else is on.
Indeed, no.
Haynes is on a timed lap. I think he's the only one on a timed lap. Currently all the way down to
Doesn't
P10.
look to be improving though. Anyway, he crosses the line now.
Puts him to P9, so he doesn't.
9, so ahead of
So,
Berlin.
Kovalainen takes pole position in GT1, and Dex takes it in GT3, with Thomas Jensen last in the GT1 category. It'll be an interesting start, I think. As we now switch
Indeed
over
it
session.
will. I don't think anyone was expecting that.
Wait for it to change a session. So as all the cars head up onto the grid. Unfortunately, I cannot get rid of that annoying sound that's going on right now. It appears to be a bug where there's a car revving in the pit lane.
Yeah, I can hear the same sound, so please fix beta testers.
I think it's because the Corvette disconnected halfway through. Anyway, grid is getting ready up. I believe we're waiting for someone. Don't know who we're waiting for. I believe everyone's on the grid as we go racing. And we are off. Timothy Haynes appears. Oh, and cars behind seem to be very. Oh, it's
They're doing the rolling start,
start.
Alex.
Yeah, I remembered. I completely forgot. So, cars start to roll out. So it's all up to Kovalainen now to get the start done. I'm so used now to the cars just immediately go, and I'm like, what's going on?
Haynes has fallen back a bit, so oh, he was very wide.
He's in the gravel, he's got plenty of time to catch up, so he shouldn't have to
Yeah,
rush it too much.
hopefully he can catch up.
So as Kovalainen heads into the chicane where the pit limit will be applied. And the field will start to be bunching up. So Haynes has got 5 seconds to catch up on, but he's still got some time. As he eventually does catch up with the rest of the field. I'll see him go over the crest there. Right. Kovalainen does decide to gun it. Getting out of the... Turn 1 goes very wide there, cuts the track.
Yeah.
And we are going racing. The pack does all split up there.
Seems Hank Bizzle hasn't had a very good
Kovalaine's
start.
back into the gravel again, which hands the lead
Jensen
over.
already moved himself up to P2, as Kovalainen drops down to P6.
So not the best start for Kovalainen there. As the Mercedes of Dex goes back and gets overtaken by NAF in the back. As the gap between the GT1s and GT3s is slowly opening. But not as much as I thought it would be. going into this race.
Where make himself makes very.
Nice like connection issue there with Erwin, unfortunately. So hopefully we'll be back up with us very shortly, as Jensen is now right on the back of Charlie Darling on lap 2.
Now, and he sticks in front of Bissell into P4.
There we go, he's now back with us. Haynes is on the right to the back of Berlin as they go through turn 2. Haynes, unfortunately, one of the people who did drop out during qualifying, had to start all the way from the back. So make a move now onto Berlin. He's going to slot him in front through the chicane. Berlin does get knocked out wide into the gravel there. So Haynes just made the position up. Jensen looking to make the move onto Charlie Darling for the lead.
And behind them, Kovalainen closing up on Dendo.
Kovalainen after what was, but he started on pole and had an awful start. Kept going wide at turn 1 after the start happened, after getting quite a good getaway. So
As they are on the straight now, so it looks like he'll be able to make a move into the first chicane on the inside.
no, just let's slot
No,
behind.
he stays behind. And in GT3, Berlin is getting close to Haynes again. Kovalainen on Dendo.
Oh, there's a
on the
big
main straight.
Berlin goes very much for the dive bomb there into the final corner. That's from a long way back there, and does seem to have made the move onto Haynes.
Oh, Dendo's run wide. Oh, there's a big crash. Involving Henk Bissell, Kovalainen and...
Yeah, Dendo is in the wall, and he's trying to get back onto the track. Got a big front damage there, as Kovalainen's also behind him. So these two now got a bunch of work to do to try and get back up the order again, as they're right in the middle of the GT3 pack. I don't think the GT3 is going to be particularly happy to have these cars behind them. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, it does not seem to have affected Charlie Darling and Tom Dennis's fight. So Kovalan right on the back of Dendu again, but these two are going to have to try and cut through all the GT3 traffic. As they have got currently Wolby in front of them. Kevin Naff and Berlin having a fight going on.
All that mess.
Naff has dropped a few positions, it does seem though, as he's now right down P9. He does go straight on there over the chicane. Does not gain anything and now is in dead last. Caroline goes to the inside, does not manage to make the move because Wolby is getting in the way here. Wolby gets way out of the way though. Does not want to be interfering with these two GT1 cars. That Thomas Johnson has lost a bunch of time onto Charlie Darling, no? They have fallen. He's fallen back to over a second.
Kovalainen goes up the inside of Dendo. And he's in front. So Kovalainen has made his way back up to P5. Next up will be Denks in the GT3.
Then in front of them there will be Hank Bizzle. So again, once they pass Denks, they will be through the GT3 field and back into GT1 territory. And just up the road from him is Hank Bizzle. Oh, and a car just went off there. I think it was Denju.
Yeah, that was Dendo. Dendo falls back to P7. Behind Robbie's Mercedes.
Naff has lost a lot of time though. Right now, Naff is currently in P10 and 3 seconds behind Haynes, so something must have gone on there. As Kovalainen does manage to make the move work onto the back of... No, Kovalainen makes the move onto Denks.
Jensen getting right. Goes up the inside into a second chicane. Stays behind.
bit sideways after the final corner there.
Yeah, Darling got a bit drifty. Jansen is closing up on the back of him, so he's lost him a bunch of time.
Saw some more time coming out of turn 4. Seems like Thomas Jensen managed to make the car go on a lot tighter line than Charlie is, but can't get the power down quick enough. The Nissan itself is a bit more torquey compared to the others, and has a tendency to spin its wheels up a lot more than the other GT cars. Meanwhile, Kovalainen is closing the gap on Hank Bizzle. Now we're under a second. Oh, and Hank Bizzle goes into the gravel. Hank Bizzle is now relegated to P4.
Oh, Jansen goes up the inside of Darling into the second chicane. Can you make the move stick? Looks like you will.
So it looks like after 15 minutes, Thomas Jensen has managed to retake the lead as Charlie looks to make a late move into the hairpin. Not quite close enough to really make anything happen. It's very loose on the exit of turn 10.
Yeah, Darling seems to be struggling to get the power down out of that corner.
Kevin Naff is closing the back of Haynes though. So after what has been an awful start to the race for him, he's slowly going to crawl positions back up. Oh, Naff gets a bit very loose on the into turn 1.
Jansen is now rapidly creating a gap to Darling.
Interesting, Denzo's yet to get past Danks in the, so he's still in P6 right now.
It looks like Berlin is also starting to close up on Walby, so it will be interesting to see how that develops. It's getting 1 second on the main straight now.
Oh, and Wolby's pulled over? Does Wolby went wide or something? Or because he just pulled over and Berlin managed to shoot straight past, so don't know what's going on there. But anyway, Wolby, he has dropped the position and now is in P8 overall.
And behind them you can see Neff closing up on Haynes.
So what can Wolby manage to close the gap now onto Berlin? As we hit the 20-minute mark. Oh, and there's another issue it seems, as he's now fallen back to P8 again. Oh, and Naf goes very, very, very wide there. Out of turn.
Yeah, he goes straight into the barrier. You can see quite a lot of damage on the front of his Nissan.
Yeah, he managed to get it going again, but I don't know how much damage he has sustained in that mechanically, but he's now dropped all the way back. So I believe he might have spun in the same location as Denzu did. Denzu is now quite far behind the next car in his class. He's got a lot of work to do to try and make up the positions that he's lost. And so has Naf. The lead at the front has extended though. As Denzu managed to get past Wolby. This track is very hard, it seems, for the GT1s to actually get past the GT3s. It's not exactly the easiest track for them, just due to the lack of true straight lines they can use. But lucky Denzu does manage to get past both of the Mercedes fairly easily. But he's still a long way back now from Dex. He's got a lot of ground to make up.
Walby is a little bit faster than Berlin right now, so happy to see the battle of the Swedes is continuing.
Charlie Dye must have had an issue coming into turn 1. He was in the gravel. He's now back going again. But something must have happened there. He's now 20 seconds behind, and Kovalainen is now 10 seconds. Saying that, Kovalainen has a spin as well. At the same spot. So some GT1s are struggling, it seems.
Lots of people running into the gravel there. It's a difficult corner to get right. GT1.
I think it might be a case of them going way too quick in, because it's another case of the fact that the GT1s are a lot faster in a straight line, but the aerodynamics and the brakes themselves are not much better than the GT3. So you go in expecting the car to grip, and it doesn't. So you go wide and go into the gravel, and then on your exit you muck up. So that might be what's happening as they're trying to push a bit too much into that first corner.
So Walby was exactly 1/10 faster than Berlin on the last lap.
We'll be right on the backside of that. This fellow Swede and fellow Mercedes driver right now, it seems.
Looks like Jensen is also starting to get close to his first bit of GT3 traffic now.
Warby does seem to be dropping slowly off the back, and saying that Bella makes a mistake during the chicane and has gone wide again in the gravel. So Warby gets past Berlin. So we're going to be soon entering the pit stop window, very shortly, I believe. So we're going to start seeing the first few pit stops. I would say short, soon. The question is, will everyone do any strategy calls? Will everyone go no tyres, or will people stay safe and take the tyres? I'll say right now though that I think that oh no, that's just a timing bug. Didn't mean to switch over there. Yeah, will any of the GT1s take no tyres? I don't think they will, because a few of them have been struggling into turn 1. I don't think it's unless they really want to try and make a move to win the race.
Jensen is really getting close to the back of Kevin Neff now. So
Nissan on Nissan.
Neff gets out of the way nicely. Of course, these are different Nissans. One to GT3, so don't get confused.
One's got turbos and the other doesn't. One's got different aero, and yeah. I mean, from far away they're very similar, but they are different cars. And they're quite different cars in the way they're handled. So, when will people... No one's yet to pit. Yeah, unless Timothy Haynes pitted? Or no, he started in the pit lane, that's why it says he has pitted. He rolled out from the pit lane.
I think Berlin and Walby have a very...
Oh, I believe we've got a car in the pits. And it
this
is
will be
Charlie Darling's in the pits.
indeed he is.
And so is Kovalainen. To our first pit stops. Both get passed now by Hank Bizzle. So they will drop down the order. It seems though actually will be Andrew's going to go past him as well now. Let's see. We're dropping fairly down the order.
It's changing tires right now. We'll keep a close eye on the pit lane. Seems Kovalainen also changing tires. Both in GT1 of course. So it looks like neither of them is wanting to take the risk. Starling rejoins the track now. In P9 it seems. And Kovalainen is out now in P10.
Thomas Jensen's now approaching the back of the GT3 field of Timothy
Oh,
Haynes.
Darling is slow. Seems. Not sure what happened to Darling there. He was going slow out of the pit lane.
Well, he's now Kovalainen right behind him.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting when these two show up after the pit stops have happened. As they have exited a lot closer than they originally pitted in, because Kovalainen was a couple seconds behind. So, a slow pit stop by one of them.
Darling seemed to be slowed down on the exit of the pit lane. So not sure what happened there. Maybe didn't know where the exit line was, where he was supposed to turn off his limiter. Not entirely sure there, but he was definitely going slow when he shouldn't be going slow.
I think we've got a few more pit stops now coming in.
Indeed we have.
So Timothy Haynes and Victor Berlin in the pits.
So is Timothy Haynes.
Meanwhile, Kovalaine's getting very close to the back of Charlie's car. Kovalainen lets make a move into turn 1, decides against it for now.
Berlin and Haynes are both changing tires.
Kovalainen is a bit wide out of turn 4. We got another car into the pits. Heard a little beeper going off.
Yeah, it's Hank Bizzle.
I believe. No, that's another timing bug. Trying to work out if Haynes managed to jump Berlin in the pit stops.
Berlin is ahead of Haynes.
Dendu's in
Do
the
you see
pits now
some
as
more
well.
cars coming into the pits? Dendu as well as Jensen, it seems.
So your leader's now in the pits. Question is usually yet to be in the pit lane then.
Hank Bizzle is changing tires right now.
Dex is yet to be in the pits. And he's going to be lapping Berlin very shortly.
Dendo and Jensen also changing tires, so seems that all the GT1s are indeed changing tires as you predicted.
I think it's worth the risk right now. I think honestly, the fact that so many of them have been off in the gravel I think it's really worth the risk of having to take tyres or not.
Banks is also coming into the pits now from the lead in GT3.
Just to see where he will appear. The NAF and Woolby have yet to pit.
And Banks is also changing tires, so it seems that none of the GT3s are taking the chance either.
The fight between Charlie and Carolina, they're still under a second. Under half a second most of the time it does seem between these two cars, so it's not like see any one of them have much of an advantage over the other. Oh, I think Hank Bizzle's in the pits. Okay.
Indeed he is. Danks just rejoined the track. But he is still in the lead of GT3, it seems.
So why is
If I'm not
Hank in the...
mistaken. No, Nav is ahead of him.
No, Warby's in the lead in GT3. Warby and Naff yet to pit.
Hank Bizzle comes out of the pits.
So obviously serving a
So he
drive
stopped
through.
twice. Seems like it, yeah.
For speeding in the pit lane. Of course we don't get those notifications.
And Wolby is now changing tires.
Coverline looks to make a move on Charlie. Decides against it for now, but does get a better run through turn 1. But Charlie's going to have the inside line for turn 2 now. Alright, Coverline's car does seem to have a bit of front damage on it. Says will be pitted now?
Yes, he has.
So it's only Naff yet to pit.
Indeed it is.
As Coverline's looking to still make the move onto Charlie, but again, can't seem to make it work. The real question is, when is Naff going to stop? He's yet to stop. As Coverline and Darling get very close to each other once again. Interestingly, the two, Charlie and Coverline, are catching Naff. But again, they are in GT1s. Coverline doesn't seem to lose it though, coming for the second chicane. Looks like he's going to have to make all that progress back up on Charlie again. real question is when is NAF going to pit?
Yeah, that's going to be the interesting thing now.
I mean, how much fuel does he have? He surely doesn't.
I don't know. He'd run out of fuel by now.
Charlie Darling has an off at the final at turn 10, as Kovaline's run the back of him again. So that fight is not going to end anytime soon. I just gotta keep. I think he's got to keep track of NAF because NAF is in P2 right now. He is P2 overall, may I add. So, I mean, the GT1 are literally coming up right behind him right now, but still, it's a bit high, don't you think?
Yeah. He's been staying out for a very long time, so I'll keep a close eye on him. So you can see Krivaline in.
Kovaline's gonna make the move once
Still
again on
getting close
Charlie,
to
and
Darling.
he
Oh!
does. Charlie gets very slow out of the chicane, and looks like Kovaline's managed to take him, so now Kovaline in P3. So can Charlie get close again? Let's find out. As there's only 20 minutes left to go in this race. I want to know what NAF's strategy is at this point.
He's still not come in.
Can he fuel save, okay, for 20 minutes? I think he's got a 20-second lead over Wolby. So, I don't know. Honestly, don't know what's going to happen now. It's as Kovaline has managed to make a gap onto Charlie though. So now, saying that, close right back up again. I think Naf's going to very soon get past. Oh, Naf does lose it then. It does seem that both the GT1s will manage to get past him. The Naf is now into P4. But has a 22-second lead over Wolby, who's currently leading the class somehow. Has Wolby not taken tyres?
I don't think he has, actually, as Nev comes into the pits now.
Okay then, so I believe he will be passed by Wolby. There's no way he can do, unless he's going to do a splash and dash. That's the only thing I can think of is a splash and dash. So as Wolby's going through the final corners now. Let's see what happens.
Okay, with close eye on Nev.
Right, Wolby's past him. The next car in question is going to be Denks, as he's coming across the start-finish line now. And Naf is on the move, it seems. I just saw him.
Nev is just comes out of the pits now, and he did not change tires.
So,
Oh,
he just hit the wall.
top of the wall.
Okay. So, he comes out P6. But Wolby, I believe, has jumped Dex in the pit stops. I think Wolby's actually one of those drivers that seems to get away with that strategy a lot, and he seems to be very good at just keeping going and not making mistakes. So he's done the strategy before.
Yeah, very consistent.
Sure. He's done the strategy before, I think Shanghai, something like that.
Yeah, I believe it was Shanghai.
Where he got a really, really good result by just not taking tyres. I mean, originally the strategy was really, the most famous example of the strategy was obviously Zandvoort last season, when Tom Dentist just got the lead stolen from him because of that strategy. Not that we managed to make quite the effect of that, but it's still a strategy that seems to be not dying out. Get to see it in GT1 though.
Well, let's see if Walby can pull this off again, because it seems Danks is closing up on him quite fast.
Another car's in the pits. Is Neff in the pits again? Or Thomas Jensen's in the
Jensen.
So I'm
Yes,
guessing
he is. But he has a minute lead over Kuverleinen, so
don't think it's gonna matter much.
I'm guessing, yeah, I'm guessing he'll just take more fuel. I think it's maybe his lead was so big that he decided not to save fuel as you usually would have to in GT1.
So the current interesting fight will be between Dex and Walby. Walby's last lap at 1:31.8, Dex at 1:30.0. So one car is definitely the fastest out of the two.
Oh, it seems someone has retired. Charlie Darling. Oh. Jensen comes back onto the track. I think he's been passed by Kuverleinen. Okay, that was
interesting.
Weird.
I mean, last time he said he was trying to do a two-stopper, and maybe he's trying that strategy out again. I don't know. He seems very convinced the two-stopper is the way to go. And obviously we can't see his fuel or his tyre wear, so we don't know if it's just a case of him stopping for the sake of it, or is he doing it for an actual reason and not having enough fuel. He didn't really do an early pit stop though. He did it very much when everyone else was doing it.
Hank Bristol is going slow.
Yep, he's gone off. And is he out of fuel? Don't think he is.
No,
He's
I think he's speeding back up.
going back at the
Maybe.
pace.
Maybe he was just going really slow to let Kuverleinen and Jensen by there. Maybe he's almost out of fuel, and
He's going very slowly indeed, so he might
yeah.
pull into the pits very shortly. Or he might keep out.
No, he's just gonna keep going. That's strange. Engine and transmission are both alive and healthy, so
I find it funny that we have access to that
that
sort of
shows going
data,
on.
but not fuel or tyre wear. We have access to damage, but nothing else. Dex is still on the charge to close down the gap for Walby. He's got 12 minutes to do so. I believe that's the car up the road you can see now. So Walby's had off, I believe, because he's had his lead's been chopped down. Like, he goes off again. So I think those tyres might be giving in now for Walby.
yeah. So it seems that his tire strategy is not working out so far. With things getting closer to him quite rapidly.
gap is now 2 seconds, or under 2 seconds, between Woolby and Dex for the lead in GT3. What's interesting is P4 3 overall as well. So the order's quite mixed up, it seems.
Indeed, it seems it's difficult to be consistent. With the GT1 cars on this track, seems turn.
So the gap is nearly under a second now between Woolby and Dex. 10 minutes to go.
We can also see Dendo in the background, closing up behind. He should be right there.
Oh, and Woolby's wide again. The move might be happening very shortly now. So it's Mercedes versus Mercedes now. Dex is going to make the move and second chicane decides against it.
Yeah, I think the gap shown for Dendo must be in class. Because you can see them coming up right behind.
Behind the back of the Mercedes Dex. Woolby went to get a better exit there, but I think that's mostly due to the fact that Dex had nowhere ready to go there. Dex is definitely the fastest of the two cars, it seems. Quite a bit of run here, now it's getting to turn 2, side by side. Woolby still holding it there. Go around the outs.
Dendo will be wanting to make his way past as well.
Gets a bit shoved onto the grass there by Woolby. As the Ford comes through, but the Ford does lose it seems. He's lost a bunch of time now. See how well Woolby can defend for. He's got to do it for 7 minutes now.
Seven more minutes on worn tires.
Most of the car with tires are only gone for 30 minutes or so. Well, not being less, like about 20 minutes to old tires now. Dex is now going around the outside, or the inside now, as he has managed to make the move happen.
Yeah, he definitely got the better exit out of the final corner.
He's managed to make the move his way up into P3 overall. I think it's more important at this point to compare these cars for overall positions, just because of how jumbled up this order is. So now I've got Dendu behind, who should be overtaking them very shortly. Woolby once again in very high position due to his strategy. Tank Biz is having more issues, does seem, as Denji just managed to get past Woolby now. Going to the front of the field though, Thomas Jensen yet to close the gap on Kovalainen, and it's 5 minutes to go. Well, he has closed the gap now, it's under a second.
Still needs to make his way past though. As Hank Bizzle has also retired. And there you can see Jensen closing up on Kuhalainen. On the final corner, let's see if we can get a better exit onto the main straight.
He will seem to have a bit more top, but he's going to hold him behind for now. Minutes to go. Going is a bit sideways there. Getting it very close now. But he's going to hold on for just for a bit longer. Dendu does manage to eventually get past Dex. As Berlin is closing the gap now with Kevin Naff. Was very wide there, out of turn 3. Up ahead is the fight between Berlin and Naff. Just see up the road though, as Berlin can move on to Naff going into the final few corners. Interesting to see if Naff can keep that position after a risky strategy call. Right, Thomas Jensen's got a better exit again out of the final corner. Is he close enough to make a move? So I believe there'll be one more lap after this. So 2 laps to go.
Berlin is also right behind Naff now. He goes, ooh, they go side by side. Let's see, and Berlin has taken P6 from Naff.
Naff after going out for what seemed to be an eternity. Only went into fuel because he basically had to. I mean, I think he had the choice, he would never have gone in the pits. But there we go. Jensen loses a bunch of time, so does Kovalainen. Oh, Kovalainen is off the track. And does lose position.
Jensen is back in P1. So you can see some traffic coming up for them as well.
Nath has lost a bunch of positions. As Nath does seem to let at least Thomas by. And so we head on to the final lap, as Nath decides to take the scenic route around the first corner, as Coverline does seem to decide that the drifting route is the superior way around the final corners.
I'm not sure that's the fastest way to take a corner. It looks cool, but it's not fast.
So time is up. This is the last lap. It does seem that Coverline is struggling a lot with his car. Is he pulling
Yeah,
over?
he
He's
seems
pulling over to retire.
He's retired.
Something must have happened. That's 3 GT1s retired. Jensen's going to make a move onto Berlin
So
to lap him.
we only have 2 GT1s left.
Just when the order mostly sorted itself out. May I add that in the GT3 class it's a Mercedes podium. So Mercedes bias confirmed. As Thomas Jensen does cross the line to take another race victory in the Nissan GTR. Next person to cross the line is Bernie, will come home in 5th place overall.
Kevin Nevin 6th.
Next person to cross the line will be Haynes in the Z4. He'll come home in P7. Thought he'll be last in class, but at least he can say he beat some GT1s. Well, we noticed that it'll be a GT3 on the podium. The overall podium will be a GT3.
Is that Le Mans only 17?
This needs to Dendu just to somehow blow up right now. And just have LMP, the lower class, on the podium, as Dendu does go through the final 2 corners now to take home P2. Followed by Dex, and coming home just now will be Warby in an impressive P4 for him, and to finish off the Mercedes podium in GT3. There we go, there's your overall results. Jensen takes the win, and the series is over, because what's the point? Jensen keeps winning everything. Does go with the fastest lap, and just about takes it home. I don't know what happened to Kovalainen at the end there, because he just pulled over, so I guess damage.
Apparently,
fuel.
Kovalainen ran out of fuel, is what I'm being told by Hank Bizzle.
Okay, so that's a bit unfortunate, because I was really hoping you'd win that, but there we go. Unfortunately, running out of fuel does mean that you can't really win.
Yeah, that's a bit of an issue.
So there we go. There is... Oh god, music, go away. There is the rolling start test race over and done with. Thomas Jensen once again takes another victory because he keeps winning these things, so really at some point should probably just cancel everything. Or...
Need to adjust the BOP so he can't win anymore.
We're actually just going to give him a 235i. He's going to race with that. Anyway, I hope everyone did enjoy this. We might do an interview. Should we do an interview? Definitely should. Oh, this is a test race. I don't think it's too big of a deal. Anything you'd like to add, Erwin?
Not really. How did you think the running start went?
Apart from the fact I got confused at the beginning. Apart from Kovalainen going to go straight off at the beginning, it was not too bad in terms of chaos. Don't know how well it will work in a full field of cars. because it was quite a small grid today. But it does allow a bit more strategy for the warm-up lap, I think, and at the same time it will allow the admins of this lovely league to impose starting from pit lane penalties of naughty people. Because in theory you can just let the entire grid go past and you can let them out. So we will obviously have a talk about it with people later. Anyway, so nothing's final. Anything I say in the stream is not final for next season, by the way. Right. So is anything you'd like to end this on, apart from didn't go too badly?
Well, just thank everyone for watching once again. And yeah, sorry we had a bit of a small grid this time around. Hopefully it was still enjoyable. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Of course, we are now broadcasting to the OVRC YouTube channel instead of Alex Blob. And all future OVRC broadcasts will live on this channel and maybe some other content as well. So yeah, make sure you subscribe.
That's us over with. Thank you again for watching, and we will see you on the next time, which will probably be the start of whatever we're running next season. Is any UTTSs?
Dun dun dun.
Hold on.